In the last video, we reviewed the background of the Jamaican system. Then, we explored the content of the system, including its international reserve, BP adjustment mechanisms, exchange rate system. In this video, we'll learn the classification of IMF's exchange rate regimes. The IMF classifies all exchange rate regimes into 8 specific categories. The 8 categories spans from rigidly fixed to independently floating. The exchange arrangement with no separate legal tender. Under the system, currency of another country circulates as sole legal tender, or member belongs to a monetary or currency union in which same legal tender is shared by members of the union. For instance, dollarization countries include Ecuador and Panama use dollar as their official currency. The country does not issue its own currency. The most prominent example is the euro area, in which the euro is the single currency for its member countries. However, the euro itself is an independently floating currency against all other currencies. The second, currency-bound arrangements. Under the system, monetary regime based on implicit national commitment to exchange domestic currency for a specified foreign currency at a fixed exchange rate. Currently, Hong Kong adopts the currency-bound arrangements. The exchange rate of Hong Kong dollar and the US dollar is fixed. The amount of Hong Kong dollar can be issued by the central bank depends on the amount of US dollar reserve. Quite a few emerging markets and regimes will choose the system of dollarization and currency board. Dollarization is the use of US dollar as the official currency of the country. The country adopts dollarization will lose the benefit of gaining seigniorage. Arguments for dollarization include: first, currency volatility is removed, especially for the country experiencing drastic currency fluctuation. The choice for dollarization is a good solution. The second, possibility of future currency crisis is eliminated theoretically. The third, economic integration with the US and dollar-based market is greater. Arguments against dollarization include loss of sovereignty over monetary policy, loss of power of seigniorage. The central banks of the country no longer can serve as lender of last resort. Examples include Panama Circle 1907 and Ecuador Circle in 2000. Currency board exists when a country's central bank commits to back its monetary base, money supply, entirely with foreign reserves at all times. This means that a unit of domestic currency cannot be introduced into the economy without an additional unit of foreign exchange reserves being obtained first. Example is Argentina in 1991 when it fixed Argentina peso to the US dollar. The example we are more familiar with is Hong Kong. Lend the first two IMF's exchange rate regimes, dollarization and currency bond. Let's continue with the third one. Conventional fixed peg arrangement. Country pegs its currency, formal or de facto, at a fixed rate to a major currency or a basket of currencies where exchange rate fluctuates within a narrow margin or at most positive negative 1% around the central rate. The first pegged exchange rate within horizontal bands. Value of the currency is maintained within margins of fluctuation around a formal or de facto fixed peg that are wider than positive negative 1% around the central rate. Compare the first and third system. We can see the difference between the two. The fluctuating range of the first is wider than the third, obviously. The fifth, crawling peg. Currency is adjusted periodically in small amount at a fixed, pre-announced rate in response to changes in certain quantitative measures. The certain quantitative measures may be economic growth rate, inflation rate, and so on. For example, a country may devaluate its currency from time to time according to its domestic inflation rate. About crawling peg, there are two ways to crawl. One is upwards, another is downwards, according to the situation of economy. Compare the fifth to the third. The difference between the two is that the central level of the third system is level, but the fifth central rate will be adjusted in the direction of upwards or downwards. The sixth, exchange rates within crawling peg. Currency is maintained within certain fluctuation margins around the central rate that is adjusted periodically. Compare the sixth with the first. The central rate of the two systems are within a narrow band, but the central rate of the first is usually kept the same, while the sixth is usually go upwards or downwards. The seventh, manage the floating with no pre-announced path for exchange rate. Monetary authority influences the movements of the exchange rate through active intervention in foreign exchange market without specifying a pre-announced path for the exchange rate. Different from the above six systems, which all have a central rate, the seventh doesn't have such central rate or pre-announced intervention path. The characteristics of the seventh system is that the government will intervene actively according to the need of macroeconomic situations. The eighth, independence floating. Exchange rate is market determined without any foreign exchange intervention aimed at moderating the rate of change and preventing the undue fluctuations in the exchange rate. The eighth is a market rate system, similar with the seventh. There is no central rate will be set, and different from the seventh, the government won't intervene at any time. That's why the independence floating is also called clean floating, while the managed floating is also called dirty floating. In this video, we examine the exchange rate systems classified by International Monetary Fund. There are 8 types. That's all for the section. Thank you.